let's go ahead and get started with our session for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Our session, which is titled The Fulbright Journey, will be exploring the journey of our Fulbright speaker for today, Vishal. Vishal, thank you so much for joining us today and for being here and for taking out time from your precious schedule. We look forward to finding out more about your experience at Emory University with your major, how your entire journey was, what are your key takeaways? What is some feedback that you would like to share with our students who are attending today, who would like to apply for the Fulbright scholarship? But before I hand over the session to Vishal for the day, I would like to quickly introduce United States Education Foundation Pakistan, or USEFP. So USEFP is the Fulbright Commission in Pakistan, and it promotes mutual understanding between the people of Pakistan and the people of the United States through educational and cultural exchange. To learn more about our organization, programs, and facilities, you can check out our website www.usefp.org. USCFP has several departments, including programs and advising, and you can find out more information about these departments and the services that we provide on our official website. At this point, I would also like to quickly introduce myself. So my name is Amna. And I'm one of the advisors in the USCFP/Education USA advising team. We provide free advising services to Pakistani students who wish to pursue their bachelor's, master's, or PhD in the United States. And this is for those students as well wish to who wish to apply independently apart from the Fulbright, as well as students who are interested in the Fulbright itself. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us for our free advising services by emailing us at karachi@educationusa.org. And like we said, if you want more information about the Fulbright Scholarship or anything else of that sort, please visit our website. If you have any questions for today's session or for Vishal specifically, then please type them in the Q&A box and we would be more than happy to take them at the end of the presentation. Now, I would like to officially hand over the session to Vishal, our speaker for today. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Amna. I think I'm audible. Amna, can you just reply back if in case there's issue with
Yes,
me
we can hear
speaking or
you.
it's okay?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay, I get it. Cheers. Hi, everyone. A brief introduction. I don't know, it's one of the usual things, but I've again like highlighted in red the Fulbright part because that's what we are here for. 2014 to 18, I went to LAMS. Uh, but I think I'll deep down a bit more. I come from Tharparkar. I went to Cadet College Pataro, and from there on, I went to LAMS. During my time at LAMS, I actually had a chance to study three undergrad semesters, one in United Kingdom, one in Germany, and one in Italy, all on 100% scholarships. And I think this is one of the things which I haven't mentioned here, but it kind of like helped when I was applying to Fulbright. So with this, all the participants who are here, or people who will listen it online in times to come, the session I'd highly recommend that your university would have the program named as study abroad, semester abroad. But at the same time, you would personally, you can go and apply to programs such as free mover study abroad programs. Now, these programs actually, without having an agreement officially with your university, they still allow you to come and study one semester to universities, and probably your university would also count the time you spent abroad. So on your own, don't wait for your university to send you an exchange semesters. Try your own luck. Search out study abroad free mover programs. A lot of institutions in Europe also give it for free, like they have scholarships, or the education is the tuition fee is nothing. So you get a chance to like spend 6 months abroad, study a semester, and at the same time travel the world. From 2019, I was a consultant, then joined State Bank of Pakistan as a central banker. Went Fulbright at Emory. Emory is amazing. I don't know, some of the people have told me it's Harvard of the South. I don't know, it probably came from the people who kind of like tried to motivate me, because there was a moment when I was just thinking that applied to Columbia, UCLA, USC, and Emory. So these four institutions through Fulbright was where my application was sent, and Emory was finalized. So I was just kind of like deciding that is it something I'm okay to jump on. Because a year ago I had an admissions from Duke as well, and several other universities. So kind of like having an acceptance from Duke, and like then settling up for Emory, and even Columbia and UCLA and USC, other options as well. So people told me it's how this is. So again, like referring back to memory. I came back with a degree in business analytics, learned machine learning, AI, data science. Was kind of like I'll speak more on how I got tricked into knowing things which I did not know beforehand, and how I kind of like applied with a lesser knowledge than what I should have thought. Came back part of State Bank again, working as an analyst at big data analytics division. So we work with machine learning, data science, AI, to bring in different lens to policy making. Uh, I think moving on, I'll just jump on my application process. I don't know if I assume if you all are here, you probably have a lot of times would heard that if you're applying for Fulbright, you definitely would need a GRE. TOEFL isn't needed by the time when you apply, but obviously when you make the cut, be it an interview or a final round, we were not expected to give a TOEFL score by then. We only had to apply with the GRE, and after the interviews were finalized and people were selected, they paid for us to appear in TOEFL. For this year and for every year, it varies. So be sure you check with this. Maybe I don't exactly remember. Maybe it could be requirement this time. But ideally, GRE is something which is not questioned, and they somehow put it as a requirement every single time. Personal statement. I wish I could show you my personal statement, but I would openly say that there was a time when people used to mention that I come from an underprivileged area and I come from a minority and a lot of those things, and those things were kind of like sellable or Bible or whatever lens you take, whatever side you are on. But in these days, like everyone says these things, so it's something which doesn't give you much edge. In my case, I specifically talked about my own experience at State Bank, my personal journey from the Parker to 17 different countries, of which I've lived in seven so far. So it's more of like you tell yourself as an individual how you are, how you have been, and what you look forward to. Apart from personal statement, I haven't mentioned here, but there is another research objective thing, which categorically asks you about what have you done in your life related to education, and what education degree would you want to pursue, and why Fulbright, and something similar to that. But it mostly focuses on your educational part and the work that you want to do before and after your education. So when you speak about that, I would highly want you to just think on a fact that when you write that research objective part when applying to Fulbright, kind of like be very clear on the fact that the readers that you send your submissions to, some of them might be not technical, so you have to like use perfect choice of words. So as in like the jargons do not remain jargons, but they are actually understandable by the people across the board. Uh, References, I kind of like got references from my international professors from my semesters abroad, which I studied. So kind of like I would always recommend you get the big names, someone who has a big reputation, someone who has a big credentials within your circles, probably if not your teacher who you interact directly, but maybe the vice chancellor of your university, if you can approach him, or something like people who when they put a signature at the end of the day, they regards, and then they write the name, and then after the name, whatever they write, if it's a big thing, it definitely makes a difference. So like look after the people who can definitely write it for you and write it in a good way, but at the same time they also have something, so their identity is well taken care of and they consider the references. uh, Now, I think like the most important instruction which I'm going to give you, I would still call it an instruction because I want you to learn it by heart. When we talk about interview, and I think regardless you make it to the Fulbright interview or not, but I hope you all do. But when you do, you definitely would need to take care of this thing that I'm going to speak about next. So what happens is like when you go to the interview room, you're waiting outside, and then like someone who throws you in the room or kind of like takes you in the room, basically, they actually tell you that please keep your answer precise, and you already know that everyone is lined for an interview after 20 minutes. So you already have things in mind. You're already prepared. By the time if you make it to the interview, you already are kind of like established individual who have a lot of things to speak on. So when you go in the room, someone who's like leaving you at the gate, they're telling you that please be precise and please answer as quickly as possible. If it's a Zoom interview, in my case, it was a Zoom interview. It's the same thing. Like the interviewer who is in the waiting room, the facilitator who is in the waiting room, they tell you that please go on, but please make your answers precise. Now, when you go in the room, you already have something in mind. Like you probably would have prepared an answer to introduction of yourself. You probably would have prepared an answer that why Fulbright, why this degree, and a lot of those answers. And the answers that you prepare are kind of like a bit lengthy, or a bit like they include a lot of details and all of those things. But by the time like you go into the room and then someone tells you like be precise. Now you already start thinking passively that, okay, I have everything ready, but I need to squeeze in. And sometimes when interviewers question through you the questions, they do the same thing. They say that, can you briefly introduce yourself? Now you have two instructions. Like instructor, the interviewer is also giving you the instruction to briefly introduce yourself, and at the same time, the one who left you at the gate is also has also mentioned you to be brief. Now you somehow feel like that you need to be brief, and you start rethinking. So it's kind of like impromptu answering, and I'd rather say not an impromptu answering, but probably like squeezing in your answer to be brief for whatever answer you already have thought. But I actually went against the tide, and even though like everyone told me to be brief, but when they asked me the first question, I literally answered them. That's I'm sorry, but I'll take a bit longer, just because I want you to understand this, because this is very technical stuff. So the question was like what I do in State Bank and how the degree would help me. So I have already have like I was working in the remittances channel, bringing in remittances for Pakistan. There were a lot of machine learning models being applied. There were a lot of technical jargon, such as like if you understand the economic situation in Pakistan, like remittances are like a major chunk which help us to maintain balance of payment. So again, like a balance of payment is other than jargon. Situation of balance of payment at moment or in couple of years before my interview or after the interview, which we were foreseeing, was something which I had to tell to the interview team. So I kind of like still stood on my ground, and then like I asked them that I'll be sorry, but I'll like elaborate my answer so as in it's very easily understandable. And I did it, and I think I took like 3 to 4 minutes in just one answer. But by the time I finished the answer, everyone was really appreciating, and like they spoke it out. They said that even though this was more of like a technical answer, but we appreciate the fact that you kind of like brought it down to a lower level for everyone to understand easily. So again, like be very clear of the fact that if any instruction is given to you, you are already prepared for. Just make sure you follow the way you want to follow. Don't get lost in last minute instructions and just change everything which you feel like. I'm also speaking practically because I've seen a couple of my colleagues who are brilliant than me. They still are brilliant than me, but they somehow told me that they had to reinvent their answers on the moment just because they were told to be brief or some other instructions and like they were stuck. So interview is amazing. We have a couple of alumni from Pakistan, couple of international USEFP, or sorry, not USEFP, but the Fulbright scholars or something with US agency. They kind of like try to engage you and ask you from different perspectives about your life, about the anticipation about your journey that you take on Fulbright, your education. At the same time, there's one more thing that I'd like to share. When I was applying for masters, it's ideal for us to apply for like masters in public administration, masters in public policy is like these are ideally sort of degrees, and there have been previous histories of people making to these degrees via Fulbright. But then I was like, it's kind of like easy to get in those degrees based on your experience in the development sector. But business analytics, data analytics is something which is like technically equipping you to do a lot of things, and that's where the world is moving. So I was kind of like again challenging the status quo, challenging the norms, jumped on. So luckily, like once I went there, there are like three individuals after me from State Bank who applied to business analytics slash data analytics, and all of three have made it. In my case, the interview was kind of easier because no one was asking me technical questions, even though they were Fulbright alumni in the interview who did business analytics in the Fulbright, but they did not ask very technical questions. But after me, anyone who appeared, they were literally asking the technical questions. So again, like letting you know that if you're applying to specifically this degree, be very clear on that you should have gotten your hands dirty before you jump on mentioning in your application that you did something technical. So again, like uh, moving on to last question, which is mentioned here, what is required for a good application? I think like I was trying to move on with every point, so everything covers in total. But one thing that I'll always say that if you want to outshine yourself, remember that uh, everyone across the room who you would be competing against has something to prove in the room. But there is one place where ideally you can take an additional mark or additional step is like you did is like in 2022 I applied to Duke, I applied to UCT, I applied to Trinity College Dublin, I applied to Rochester, I applied to University of Texas at Austin, and a couple of other institutions, Columbia and one more. So like all of these institutions were applied except for one. I got an all, chose not to go. Family commitments was another reason I chose not to go. The next year I applied Fulbright, and when you apply at Fulbright, they ask you in the form that, and what was the result or outcome? So again, like when you mentioned this, I personally feel like when I did that, it was kind of like a plus for me because I was not doing this because Fulbright was asking me or paying for me, so I need to apply. But it was more like my application, I believe, was giving an impression that this individual has already made his mind to apply for a business analytics, and he already has tried and he already has gotten in big places like Duke. But based on probably finances or based on some other things, he did not go. And this is the same time this is the next time he's applying to the same degree through Fulbright. So again, applying in the next cohort or other times, make sure you apply to at least one university with the same degree program, which you would be applying to Fulbright in times to come for you to have an additional edge. Moving on to the next question. Again, with this, I got the principal offer. Then like it's 6 weeks from the interview, they send you the offers. For people who get to principal candidate, they already made aware of. For those who are alternate candidates, they are already made aware of. So everyone who is principal or alternate, they completely follow the process with no differences until unless it's like April or May, and then like people who are alternate candidates, they are finally allowed to be either principal candidates or they are not sent based on the requirements and based on the availability of seats and everything. Post selection, so the university selections happens at two places. When you apply during your interview, you mention if you get shortlisted to the interview, you mention four universities where you want to go. Uh, the IAE team actually reviews them and they sit with you, kind of like I'd say they sit with you, but again, they finalize for you. Once they're done, your application is sent. Most of the times, the application is sent via the IAE team, and you don't have to work on. But at some places, the universities specifically ask the candidate to apply. So IAE will tell you that you have to make a separate application to the university itself. In my case, I applied for UCLA, Columbia, USC, and Emory as a fourth one. We were done with this by the time April 19, I think April 19 was the time my applications were there, but three universities did not reply by then. And Emory told them that we got Vishal in, but for Vishal to be here as a Fulbright scholar, we need IE to pay us today, as today is the last day for everyone to be on the cohort for the MBA. So I was kind of like asking them that if we can get an early result from Columbia, but Columbia told they will apply on 10th May. UCLA was supposed to give a result on 3rd of May. USC has put me on wait list until May 30th. So again, like there was a big risk for me to stop on for IAE team to like say no to Emory and wait for three universities to give a reply, or just somehow send me to Emory. So instead of taking the risk, they said that okay, whatever results would come for UCLA, Columbia, or USC, we'll just want you to go to Emory, and that's how it was finalized. So again, different things happens. People sometimes are able to negotiate, sometimes not. But be very aware of the fact that IAE takes very good care of your profile, and they try to match it with the optimal university where not only your credentials would shine, but also you would be able to pass the degree in a nice manner. Today, when I seen in hindsight, I would probably think that going to Columbia would have been very tough for me, and based on my academic aptitude and based on the academic rigorousness of Columbia versus Emory. Plus, when you're Fulbright, you also want to like travel around, see around. My family was there. I have personal commitments, a lot of other commitments which I have to jump on, which I didn't know when I was applying for, when I was leaving for Emory. But again, keep that in mind that IE definitely does not discriminate, and they try you to match up with the best possible institute where both you as an individual can learn and grow and pass. At the same time, the institution also benefits from your presence. Pre-departure organizations, I'm sorry, I can't comment on this because I was not part of it. Somehow, some people like me are kind of lucky or unlucky who had to go to USA before this pre-departure organizations happen in Islamabad for people who are moving to Fulbright that year. Just because my degree program started 4 days before this orientation, I was not there. But again, it's the time you should definitely move on if you're part of it. Interact with the people, at least like talk to the people who definitely are not going to a state in which you are going, so you have someone to host you when you move around. Definitely. Arrival again. I would like to talk about how, acha, in my case, I don't know, it's more about like people's preference, but they tell you that your budget should not be more than 50% for housing. In my case, it was 75%. Again, person want to stay too close to university and hospital. In your case, it could be different. University orientation, Every individual has a different word to say, but everyone would finally agree to the fact that university education is definitely a place to be at, a time to be at, and time to be very looking forward to. It's a different story what happens after the orientation. But on the day of orientation, I think everyone who's dressed up is definitely looking forward to have a good time at university within the academic boundaries. But with the time, like there is lesser of academic interest or lesser of academic pursuit, but at the same time, exploration, networking, traveling around, that also takes in charge. Expenses, I think Fulbright pays pretty much for an individual to live lavishly. Lavishly is kind of like a debatable word, but again, they pay you enough to stay at a cozy place, to kind of like travel, to kind of like have frequent dine outs. Again, if you want PS5, if you want iPhone, I think like they pretty much pay almost for it. You might have to like cut corners, but again, you don't have to bring money from your home. Anyone who's going with the family, in case like I did with my wife, so if you're going with that, you might be someone who need to have money to take care of your dependents. But at the same time, like since you're Fulbright scholars, your wives and your spouses and your dependents, everyone gets J2 visa, which definitely allow your spouses to work full time legally. So keep that in mind that if you're taking your dependents, it's a big plus that your dependents can also work and support. They definitely don't have to support you, but actually they have to support themselves. That's what the law says. But again, they can still work. So that's a plus. I didn't look for jobs. Fulbright somehow asks you to be within the academic boundaries. But I was kind of like TA for a semester, so that's ideally a job you can look forward to. You have a lot of campus jobs, but you have to request non-reduction form. There's a form, non-reduction form. Then you have to request that they don't reduce your stipend. So again, there's a opportunity cost of you to work someplace, but at the same time you miss on some part of your stipend. So it balances at the end of the day. So kind of like you have to have a genuine reason for you to not miss on. But again, if you feel like the job is like adding a lot of value, you can cut on your stipend part and just join it. And sometimes it's like a big RA shape or TA shape with the professor who is renowned. So maybe that's a place you can jump on. Uh, Diving down into business analytics, I think it's one of the like it's more of like people are jumping on this bandwagon with data analytics and anything that is data analytics and something like this. But uh, it's something that happened to me. So actually, I went in with the thought that I would have to be like a basic or like a beginner or an amateur with coding part. But when I started my degree, I was kind of like assumed to have known R, SQL, Python, Tableau as good as anyone else. So when I reached there, there was like 15 days of a refresher course, and I was just thinking that this is a refresher course, which means I should have known all of these things before coming here. And that started being very difficult for me. Like I had to work like 3x. So as in like the refresher literally has to be understood from the scratch. And it's all three languages. So people who are working on technical skills, they somehow would relate to me for the fact that you learn syntax in SQL. It's a different syntax than Python. And the Python and SQL is all different, kind of like different syntax than R. Even though like it's more of an English, but again, at some place you have to use colon, at some place you have to use semicolon, someplace comma, someplace dash, ABC, ABC, ABC. So again, when you talk about analytics, be very clear on the fact that you should at least have a grip on R and Python, if not SQL. Or if you can't have a grip on two languages, you definitely should have a grip on Python, because that's more of like a place where machine learning happens. Uh, Apart from this, the other courses included a lot of AI, machine learning, a good exposure. Since I had a 10 months master program, it was not even like 12 months. So with this 10 months master programs, I think like we were studying 2x than anticipated. So it was definitely a lot of burden. But at the same time, since like data, analytics, AI, machine learning, all of these fields are growing at a different pace, you always would feel like you are left out with a lot of things, even if you would study 100%. So by saying this, I take the liberty in mentioning that even if like you are not able to put in 100% in your academic pursuits, and you don't learn 100% of what is being taught in the class, you still would learn a lot. That a lot is still like uh, is beneficial when you go to workplaces. And it's more about like exploring. So even like I finished my degree 7 months back, but after that, in last 7 months, I think I studied as much as I would have studied in first 7 months of my educational degree. So again, for whoever makes the cut, when you are studying business analytics or data analytics, take one, you understand Python or R SQL before you go there. Secondly, even if you don't understand a lot of things, be okay with the fact that the world has not even people who are even as capable as you. So there's a lot of supply gap. So again, be very focused on trying and learning. But again, if you don't make the cut, be very happy for the fact that you know a lot than others. Campus resources again. Emory was a good place, a big college, more of like known for medical reasons. They have Brilliant Medical College. Anytime when I visit Aga Khan and then like there's interaction randomly and then they mention and then they ask or I mention about Emory and then like the next question is are you a medical profession? So I somehow has to say no to them just because that's how it's known for. But again, matchless place to be at. I think it's more of like all these institutions, not just Emory, but again, some are specifically known for some things. Pakistani community, local community, local Fulbright chapter, and the relatives. In my case, like I had my sister, and the sister's family was there. My wife was there. My mother was there. So again, like we were kind of like somewhat again. It was the same way we were living back in Pakistan, a different place, but we were staying close. So in case you have relatives, that's something you can look forward to. Pakistan Student Association varies from university to university, but you will still have people around. Local communities, still you will have people around. Fulbright chapter is sometimes active depending on the state you are in. Again, people are there; they share resources with you, but none of this comes exclusively on you as someone is pushing on you, but it just comes on the fact as in it's an option and you want to jump on. So we still, as in humans, need social interactions to have a good time around. So like leave your room, leave your dorm, leave your place, leave the comfort zone. If you're in a different part of the country, try to engage with the people. At the local Fulbright chapter, you definitely would find people who are non-Pakistani, but again, you definitely would be able to see around people who come from different parts of the different countries, but they're also Fulbright within the local chapter. So again, jump on, engage with the people, learn as much as you can. The community is already there. The support system is already there. Travel, travel, travel. Again, I think this is pretty much the mantra. Education is something which definitely can be done even when you sit at your home in Pakistan or some other country. Exposure is something which for which you ideally have to leave your home, go to a new place, and see around, travel around. So even if like there comes a time, that's my personal recommendation. I think USEFP might not agree with this, but again, if there comes a time when you might have to miss an assignment versus traveling, definitely think around to gaining the exposure. Maybe your assignment can be taken again. Maybe you can get like 10% late reduction. But again, keep in mind, don't say money. Travel around, find around what goes on. And by traveling, I don't personally say that you just go and see the buildings and take pictures and that's it. But again, like find the local community, be involved, just try to engage with anyone as much as possible so you understand the culture, you understand the vibe. And when you come back, you don't have a hard time remembering the names, but it's more of like when you live at some place and it comes naturally, you definitely remember a lot of natural things. I think we're about to close and like yes, I think that's it. I was kind of like just running around because since like everyone was asked to write in questions and not have an interaction, so there might be places where you might have like wanted me to speak on something more, but you couldn't. Saw some hand raised, but right now like I can definitely move back to target answer you for whatever questions is. So I think like Amna is going to help me because I can't see questions myself. I don't know if
Sure.
I can. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you click on the three dots at the rightmost part of the panel in front of you, you can click on the Q&A box and see the questions. But I will be asking you the questions and you can share your answers with us. So the first question that we
Yes.
have is, how can I find a university which is cheap? Do you want to answer
Okay.
that?
Acha. So I don't know if you why would you want to find a university which is cheap? Like take one, Fulbright pays for everything. You don't have to pay for tuition fees. So if you are asking this question without the Fulbright part, then I think there is no other way you have to, there's no specific way where you can like write something cheap university in USA, but I think you specifically have to go to university's website randomly and just like see what the fees is. But if you're specifically asking about Fulbright, then you don't even have to take care of the fees because that's what Fulbright just does. Uh, you can write you can write your question in case it's different than what I answered, so I can answer you better. The second question comes that how many students of business data analytics were selected in your session? I think so. I personally remember six out of 120, but for the next cohort, I remember like 7 out of 66. So again, there is a transition towards analytics side. Uh, just try if you're more into data and analytics, just try your luck. There is already an acceptance from the Fulbright side to send more people based on the numbers that I've seen around. So just don't think that this is a big ask. By the time when I was applying, I was literally like 6 to 7 individuals categorically mentioned me to not apply to business analytics just because I was at a central bank working for the government and development sector. They told like masters in public administration or masters in public policy is something which I should be aiming for because they have the history of like use cases and everyone got in. But then I said that I want to learn something, and this is something I would want to instead of doing an MPA or MPB, which I think personally is a generalist degree. So like after me, I told you like three people who I've mentored, they went in business/data analytics. Uh, Third question says, can we apply for business analytics without work experience? If so, how should we portray a professional competency? For people who are asking, I think. Uh, Wait a minute, did I lose the question? I think they refreshed it somehow. Okay. I'd just say that with no experience, you can still apply. There's no hardcore requirement. Fulbright wants you to have just GRE. That's the bare minimum. But again, you would have done internships by then. Plus, you would have an amazing. You should have an amazing online coding repository, be it like GitHub or your contribution to Kaggle, your contribution to Stackflow, XYZ, 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 which whatever technical communities look forward to. So if you have done something on those lines, it's very easy for you to make a case that without a professional experience, you still are good to go with. Uh, is there any opportunity for medical student after their graduation on the basis of strong research background? Again, A, I'm not a medical student. B, for any student who goes to Fulbright, who finishes education in USA, might have strong research background, should definitely be sought after too. But again, there are various visa complications. So it's more of like people who graduate with Fulbright from USEFP programs. They have 30 days to leave the territory or else enroll in PhD or continue their education. But again, 2 years/5 years requirement to serve in your homeland still applies, regardless of what happens. So even like I've known people who went in there, they got married to American citizens. They even had the babies there. But once they finished the Fulbright, they were told to go back to Pakistan to serve 2 years to the home country, and then like they had to move back, even though they married citizen. They had the kids there, but still. So again, like this requirement is hardcore. So with strong research background, you might be sought after, but again, keep in mind that visa requirements come into play. For a student with marketing background, how better is top business analytics? Yes. Again, I had my colleague. She had a marketing background, and she was into communication side, external communication at a big firm, and she went in. So again, marketing analytics is also another core area where business analytics is jumping on. Um, Either way you can say, but again, marketing analytics is perfectly a degree as well being offered. I think it's Purdue which is offering it, but again, if not, then all the business analytics degree most of the time they do offer marketing analytics as a major course, and a couple of other courses related to marketing. So again, you do business analytics where you learn all of these AI and machine learning tools, but at the same time you categorically learn in the courses such as marketing analytics where you apply those tools. So I kind of like took marketing analytics, finance analytics, sports analytics as three additional courses where I was like applying all AI and ML parts. So again, you can make your case with those things. Your reference letters should be written by your teachers and bosses. So again, like ideally, if you're working, one of them should come from your boss, one of them should come from your academic teacher, counselor, or someone else. But make sure that the one who writes, when they mention the signature, it definitely is recognizable. Can all my universities be first year when I select my options? Man, you can. But again, IAE decides better. In my case, like they also recommended that I should have fourth university. So as in like I don't make it to top three, the fourth university should be the safer option. So you can choose for if they feel like that there is no way you can not make a cut. I absolutely think that they still would consider the fourth safer option for you. But again, like that's IAE's discretion. Uh, uh, some of yours too, but most of them it's theirs. I did my bachelor's in commerce and master's in English. Wait, yes, and I want to pursue data analytics again. And you need to understand what prerequisites are. Okay, so for prerequisites, I think it's more of like you start understanding that how, as an individual who graduated with masters in English, could use data analytics to impact the world. Just go on Google and say that using data analytics and humanities, using data analytics and English language in English literature, something like this, and then, like it's going to give you the ideas. But again, I would say that that's more or less going to give you a lead. Apart from that, start learning Python and some online courses which can help you with how coding works. So just that would be enough as a starting point. Uh, I'm in third semester now, pretty early. Okay. What things should I start doing? Things which are important play a major role in selection. Okay, again, it's more like so you're in third semester, it's okay. Fulbright asks categorically for two things. Number one, your personal story. Number two, the research objective, which asks what do you want to do, what degree you want to pursue, and how would that degree help in achieving your goals. So A is wholly solely related to your exposure, your life, your goals, and everything that you feel like a person. And secondly, it's more of like you doing something related to your bigger aims, professional aims and goals. So if you want to like do, supposedly you want to serve people through policy making at financial offices, and so what you can do is like start being intern at those places, like be an intern at financial sector, for you to prove that you want to do the same thing similar in times to come. For personal reasons, if you are exploring, if you're mentioned for Fulbright application that you would be traveling, you'd be engaging with a lot of people in the United States and understanding the American culture, then the person start engaging with the people not from your own culture, not from your own religion, not from your own sect, not from your own gender. Again, diversity is there. So start engaging. So you can mention the same thing that when you mention an application, you can say that I want to explore cultures the way I did in my university. Again, two questions, two line of thoughts, so you can make your cut and whatever you feel like is comfortable. Someone mentioned I did MBA with finance. I have 10 years experience in Pakistan Air Force. How to choose business analytics for what about to choose? Uh, Okay, once you're done with finance, I think you can, in your case, you can mention about like analytics is definitely used in all the businesses, be it governmental sectors, be it non-governmental sectors. So you can find yours. Maybe you're working with a finance desk. So if you're specifically looking after the finance desk, there are a lot of options. Anti-fraud options are there. Like analytics is applied in finance to stop fraud, to detect anomalies, to stop a lot of other things. So again, you can the word is open again. Like you can definitely look forward to, but you have to make a strong case that you learning data analytics or business analytics would help you in your job. Or if you're switching a career, then maybe make another case that once you do this degree, you would probably be doing something else for which you need this degree. So again, like what you want to do after this should also be convincing enough for USEFP or Fulbright to invest in you. But again, I don't know. It's also like if it's part of like your job, that's a plus. If Pakistan Air Force somehow wants you or somehow gives you a letter in which they mention that we would be happy to have this individual study this thing and he definitely can contribute. Definitely attach that letter when you apply to Fulbright because that definitely is taken care of, considered. It gives you an edge. Is it necessary to have publications? No, or definitely not publications. But again, if you're applying to MS English Literature, then I assume it should be. If you're applying to MS in South Asian Studies, then I think publications kind of like should make sense. But if you're applying to like public administration, business administration, marketing, or like these sort of degrees. I don't think they just have to be necessary. They definitely add value to whatever education you apply to, but at some places they might be. I don't know much, but I personally assume that on average they are not required. The publications are not required. Someone asked for my email. I don't know if I can answer this, but you can search me on LinkedIn. You can definitely send me a request or email on or message on LinkedIn. Business and data analytics, yes. Specific areas is in business analytics. See, business analytics is a very open field. You learn AI and machine learning, and you can apply it to whatever you feel like. You want to apply it in medicine, you can do that. You want to apply in finance, you can do this. You want to apply it in cost accounting, again, you can do it. You want to apply it in inventory management, you can do it. You want to apply it in supply chain, you can do it. Everything is it. Like it's more about like learning a language to figure out how you can see data and how you can use machine learning to optimize things at your job. So again, it's very open-ended. It's more of like you learn something, but you don't learn in a way that it's very exclusive. You learn it in a way that it's very inclusive, and you can apply it to whatever you feel like. If I want to pursue specialization with business and supply chain analytics, should I mention it in study objective or keep it to business? No, you should apply. But definitely, as a reviewer, it would make more sense if you talk as close, as realistic as possible. So if you want to study supply chain analytics, mention that you are looking forward to supply chain analytics as hardcore degree. But if supply chain analytics is not hardcore degree, then you are looking forward to business analytics with a minor in supply chain analytics, because that's how you will be able to make a better story. Business analytics is more of a general thing, but supply chain analytics is more of a tailored thing, and you probably wouldn't experience with supply chain. So jumping on to mentioning the same thing would definitely add value. Minimum CGPA, I don't know myself. But by the way, I had a CGPA of close to three. Okay, I'll leave it like this. I have a CGPA of close to three, and I got all the scholarships when I went to summer semesters, when I went to international semesters, exchange semesters, and when I went to Fulbright again, I had a CGPA of close to three. I graduated with a CGPA of close to three as well after my Fulbright. So again, I'm a use case at a lot of places within my friend circle or at different places when people say that someone with a CGPA of close to three can still make it. Yes, research work or practical work experience, which can play a better role in getting it applied. I think it's more of like both, depending on what degree you apply. But if you're applying to a very generic degree, uh, probably practical work is okay. But if you're applying to like MS Economics, then I think research work is something which would add value. So again, it's a both based on your own aspirations and goals. How can we apply data analytics in teaching and education? Amazing questions. I think we are short of times, but someone who mentioned this question can just copy paste on internet or GPT, and you can get the answer just because I'm short of time. So I'll just excuse myself here.
Thank you so much, Vishal, for answering all those questions ever so patiently. For everybody who still has more questions, like Vishal said, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn and he'd be more than happy to assist you. And if you have any questions for us, I told you our email is karachi@educationusa.org. If you have any questions about Fulbright, specific questions like what's the minimum GPA or any other question that comes to your mind about your own profile, you can email info@usefp.org, and they would be more than happy to assist you with regards to Fulbright specific questions. On that note, I would like to thank Vishal for taking out the time to join us
Thank
today.
you.
It was
Surely.
truly enlightening to learn more about your journey, and you are right. Emory is called the Harvard of the South. I've heard that as well in my time in the United States. So it's wonderful that you went there and the great experience that you had. And I hope everybody in the audience today got to learn a little bit more about business analytics specifically. Once again, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Sure.